So in this video, I'm going to talk about the item in Pokemon that really divides the Pokemon fanbase between the oldies and the newbies, the people who love the old way, the way Pokemon used to be back in my day, and the people who love playing Pokemon now. I'm talking, of course, about the experience share. Hello, Pokemon Masters, PokeAtmos here. I hope you'll forgive me. This video is going to be a little less edited. I wanted to get this out yesterday. I didn't really have the time to work on this video. I don't really have a lot of time today, but I do want to talk about this topic because I think it's important. A couple of quick things though before I get started. Number one, after 6 years, this channel is now at 245,000 subscribers. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, consider joining along. I don't usually ask people to subscribe. I just assume that you all know how YouTube works. You know where the subscribe button is. You don't need me to patronize you, but it would be really cool to hit 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year because I just think that's a really cool milestone, and thank you for all of you who've been supporting me over the years. Number two, this video has the title of a new Pokemon game in its title, which means if you leave a comment on this video, it acts as an entry towards my giveaway of a copy of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm giving away 3 copies. It's worldwide. Anyone can enter, so just leave a comment down below and you're in with a chance of winning. And number 3, I will absolutely take the time to edit in our brand new Mysterious Island poster. If you are a subscriber of this channel and you've checked out my new Pokemon Tempest series that started really recently, you might recognize this Mysterious Island. I absolutely adore this artwork. The artist Startboy did such a good job on this, and if you'd like to have this as a poster, I think it would make some great decor for your home. Decor. I'm creating more editing for myself. You can pick it up, of course, using the link in the top of the description. Right, that out the way, let's talk about the experience share. Roll intro. I'm a professional YouTuber. Right, yes, let's talk about the experience share. So between Generations 2 and Generations 5, as many of you know, this was a hold item. You'd give it to a Pokemon in your party, and even if that Pokemon didn't partake in battle, it would gain some experience, allowing you to train 2 Pokemon at once. In Pokemon X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they made it like I think it was was it called the Experience Share Plus or something like that, but it became a key item. It was no longer holdable, and instead it would affect all of the Pokemon in your party, meaning even if you just took your starter, like Mudkip, because obviously you chose Mudkip, and you took it through Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, even if you only used Mudkip for the entire adventure and just leveled it up and evolved it into Swampert, your entire team behind that would also be gaining experience, meaning if eventually somehow someone defeated your level 100 Swampert, you'd have a full arsenal of Pokemon ready to go that you hadn't given any training to. They would just happen to be in your party. In Sun and Moon and Ultra Moon, I think it got a little bit better, and actually I remember in those games some of the Totem Pokemon still being really tough boss battles despite the experience share working in this way. Sword and Shield I remember being pretty balanced. Let's Go wasn't, but then Let's Go is designed for the beginner trainer, so I completely get that. And of course, by the time of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Sword and Shield, they've actually removed the ability to toggle this item off. There is no longer that option. It just doesn't exist. Now, inherently, I don't think the experience share, giving experience to all the members of your party, is a bad thing by itself. It's all about balancing and game design, of which I know very little about. He says, making a video about the experience share and its balancing. I'm not a game designer and I've never created a Pokemon game. The people who have made Pokemon games before and are qualified to work out this balancing act are Pokemon. They would know. And based on some news outlets that have recently got a chance to have a hands-off preview of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the way that the experience share worked is it works the exact same way as it did in Sword and Shield and Let's Go. It boosts your whole team, and as far as we know, there's no way to turn it off, though I don't know if it's 100% confirmed that we can't turn it off or just that we don't know if we can yet. Why would they do this? Why would a game company do this? Well, I'm not the only person in their target audience. Younger people are playing these games, and the attention that Pokemon has to fight against is not the same attention they had to fight against when I was a kid. When I was a kid, any screen was really cool, and I had to give it my time. Now, everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a computer, everyone's got access to other games. They've really got to fight for the attention of people, and perhaps leveling up your Pokemon quickly and making the experience run through the game a little bit faster is something that's going to keep people actually playing the game longer. Maybe, again, I'm not really qualified to speak on that. What I will say is I think there are some pros here, and I think there are some cons. So let's talk about, I guess we'll start with the positives. Let's talk about the pros of having an experience share that affects your entire party. Number 1, we have the removal of grinding. This is also a con as well as a pro. I'll get to that a little bit later, but lots of people don't want to spend hours and hours and hours in the tall grass grinding against all of the wild Pokemon just so that they can be strong enough to take on a gym leader and get to the next part of the game. A lot of people just want to move on with the game. Additionally, this doesn't just apply to the main game, it also applies to the post game, where you're there and you're trying to fill out your Pokedex and you want to level up multiple Pokemon at once just so that you can fill out the Pokedex or your living dex, or maybe you're doing some Eevee or Ivy training and you don't really have the time to take one Pokemon at a time and grind them against wild Pokemon. Maybe the best thing to do is just bung a bunch of them in your team, level them up using experience share, and suddenly you've got a whole team of level 100s in the post game ready to take on the battle tower or whatever else. By having a consistently strong team, it makes you feel like a Pokemon master. You can take on anything in your path. You won't hit some kind of wall, get frustrated, and stop playing as many of us did when we were kids. And if you are a first-time player, which I imagine if you're watching this video, you're probably not, but if you are a first-time player, and this is your first time playing in a long time, or you've never played Diamond and Pearl before, then you don't know what to expect, so at least you're going to have something in your back pocket ready to go. If you were just like focusing on training up a single Pokemon, you know you've got some other options ready to go in your team. But now we move on to the cons, and the cons and the pros are actually relatively similar on this list. For example, like I said, no grinding against wild Pokemon to get your experience up. If all you have to do is just battle the trainers on every route to be over-leveled, it begins to feel a little unearned, especially if you are someone who, again, like me, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, you just want to use that Mudkip, you just want to use that Swampert, and suddenly the rest of your team is over-leveled, even though you've never sent them out of their Pokeball, it can feel unearned and disconnect you from the Pokemon on your party. Spending hours grinding with a single Pokemon makes you feel very connected to them. And in fact, that on-the-fly decision-making about whether I'm going to use my type advantage to take out my opponent's Pokemon, or if I'm going to send in my slightly weaker Pokemon and let it struggle against the opponent, but ultimately if it overcomes it, it's going to get a big amount of experience. Those kinds of decisions help with the team forging experience and make Pokemon really feel like they're yours. And of course, the big con is the over-leveling. In X and Y, it was super prevalent. I think they've gotten better with every generation in working out the balance for it. But in X and Y, I finished the Elite Four with several level 100 team members where my opponent had much lower level Pokemon, and that just wasn't right. It didn't create for a fun or challenging experience. It just made me go, wow, not as tough as they used to be. Now, at least back then in X and Y and ORAS, you could turn off the experience share. And I, to this day, do not understand why in Sun and Moon you cannot turn it off. Even if it would make the game too challenging, right? They've got the balance absolutely perfect for having the experience share on, and if you turn it off, it's gonna be like a criminally hard game. I don't get why you don't still provide the options, even if it's buried deep in an options menu so no kid can accidentally turn it off and then go, why can't I beat this game? Even if it's on by default, I just don't understand why the option doesn't exist. It is literally giving the players a hard mode that they've been asking for that is reminiscent of the nostalgic experience, especially for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are remakes of games that people played 15 years ago. Those players are going to want to check out the new Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I don't know, I think they might like that option, the ability to just go, hey, I'm choosing for this to be harder. That said, with this recent gameplay, this hands-off gameplay that's been seen by the news outlets, there are some other quality of life changes. For example, the Pokemon box is coming with you. You are going to be able to access the Pokemon box at any point, and I personally really like this. I think it's frustrating to go back to the PC, and in the age where the HMs were attached to the Pokemon and you had to select what teammates you wanted and kind of work out how you were going to traverse the next path, I guess it kind of made sense to have the PCs as these areas you had to go to. It meant you had to really think about who you're bringing with you on your adventure, but nowadays the HMs are just part of the PokeAtmos app, which means you don't have that limitation, which means why not have the Pokemon box with you pretty much at all times? The only thing I dislike is that it heals up your Pokemon by putting them in there, meaning that items like potions and full restores outside of battle just are meaningless. But the other thing that they've done, the other quality of life improvement, which is kind of a blend between Sword and Shield and the original Diamond and Pearl, is that TMs are now one use only. This was also the case in the original Diamond and Pearl, but you could only ever get one of each TM. In Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, you can get multiples of the TMs, though we don't know how frequent they'll be. And that was kind of like the TRs in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I think this is really good, and you can limit yourself. You can say, okay, I want the more classic Diamond and Pearl experience, so I will only allow myself to use one of each TM. It'll bring back that challenge, and again, it'll just be a little bit more nostalgic and like your original adventure around Sinnoh. Including this, I think you can use the Pokemon box to your experience, especially if you've played Diamond and Pearl before. You know, going into a gym, roughly how many Pokemon your opponent's gonna have, or how many Pokemon the gym leader's gonna have. So why not limit your team? When you enter a gym, you have to just select 2 Pokemon. For that first gym where you're battling Rourke only uses 2 Pokemon, now you can only take 2 Pokemon into the gym. Or, better yet, until you have your first gym badge, you're only allowed to use 2 Pokemon in your party at once. This is going to limit the amount of them that can gain experience via the experience share. Now, let's say you catch a, I don't know, you're going to start with a Chimchar, but really any of the Sinnoh starters are great. You start with the Chimchar, you catch a Starly and a Shinx, but you only have 2 badges. You limit yourself and you say, okay, I can only have 2 of those Pokemon in my party at any one time, and once I feel like one's leveled up enough, I'll swap it out using the box on the fly, which I have access to. Great way of just adding some challenge for yourself. I'm gonna suggest, okay, so this is really confusing me, I wrote this down, but I think it makes sense. Until you get your first gym badge, you're only allowed access to 2 Pokemon in your party. No more. If you catch any more and you want to train them, you're gonna have to swap them out. Then, once you've got your first gym badge, you can use 3 Pokemon in your party. Once you've got your third gym badge, you can use up to 4 Pokemon in your party. Once you've got your 5th gym badge, you can use up to 5 Pokemon in your party, and then not until you've got your 7th gym badge can you use 6 Pokemon in your party and have a full party. This is not only going to like pace out like how you're collecting Pokemon and adding them to your team, but I think it's going to help mitigate that experience share over leveling thing if you're worried about it. And again, it may well be the case that they've got the balancing perfect in this game and you don't need to do this, but this is just a way of adding challenge. Other ways, of course, of increasing the challenge are Nuzlockes, which I'm considering making this one my first ever Nuzlocke, and I might well stream that here on YouTube. Or if you think the experience share is going to give you too much experience and make the game easier that way, then limit the amount of types you can have. Maybe you just say, I'm not able to access half of the Pokemon types for my run through. That way you're always going to be at some kind of disadvantage somewhere, because those are the 2 ways that Pokemon are challenging, right? It's either the type advantage matchup thing, or it's the, well, my level's higher than your thing. I mean, I guess, or stats, but like most people don't bother with that during their run throughs. So yeah, just limit the amount of types you have access to. Maybe you think of yourself as like a ground rock specialist and you can only use ground and rock and fighting Pokemon, for example. That kind of thing. Just a few ideas to consider and things that I'm going to be considering when I play. Now, at the end of the day, I can talk about the pros, I can talk about the cons, and I can suggest some solutions to make the game harder for you if that is what you're looking for. And I don't understand, I really don't, why it's not an automatically built-in option. But I want to reiterate a point that I think is super, super important, because like many of you who have been watching Birdkeeper Toby maybe since 2015 when it started, I have been enjoying modern Pokemon games. I think they get progressively better. Maybe not Sun and Moon and Sun and Ultra Moon. Maybe in some ways, not in others. But yeah, I've been going on Pokemon adventures for the last 6 years and having a great time. I've been sharing that with you here on the channel, so much so that there are nearly 250,000 of you subscribed. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And in that time, that has been the era of the experience share, and I've seen it go through a number of iterations. So do I think that the experience share is the one and only critical item that is so divisive that it's going to make or break a Pokemon game? No. It's just an item, and it's just one factor of the whole experience. Since Pokemon X and Y, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company have just been getting better and better at refining the experience share. The experience share plus the one that gives experience to every one of your Pokemon on your team, it's not inherently a terrible item that's gonna ruin the game. So I'm gonna just caution patience. I'm not gonna declare the game ruined before I've had the chance to play it. I'm still very, very much excited for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Everything else that I'm seeing, I'm like, yes, I really like this. And for all I know, it may well be the case that you can toggle off the experience share, though I suspect they might not, and maybe I have heard somewhere, but I'm not sure what's confirmed and what's not. Regardless, I'm excited for the games, and the experience share doesn't change that for me. But I do want to hear, respectfully, what you have to think down in the comments. And of course, if you do leave a comment, you are in with a chance of winning a copy of Legends Arceus when it comes out. If you've watched this far into a video about the experience share in Pokemon, you are my secret audience. Hello, thank you for the support. Thank you for subscribing and being part of this channel and helping us get to 250,000. I really appreciate you. Thank you for checking out my merch store as well with the new Mysterious Island poster. Maybe time to get yourself a little pre-holidays gift for yourself. Thank you all for watching. And of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!
Wow, what can I say but thank you to everyone supporting this channel, especially those of you supporting on Patreon, and the big patrons of this month: JD Gottledge, Michael Hornschuch, PokeAtmos, PokeBliss, Jed Rubin, Matty Barr, and Stefan Peters. Thank you, all of you. Legends.